Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I recap the latest films, breaking down their stories, characters, and hidden meanings. If you're into suspense, thrillers, and mind-bending psychological horror, then today's recap is just for you. Today, we're exploring Speak No Evil 2024, a chilling psychological thriller that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. This film takes the seemingly innocent idea of meeting new friends on vacation and turns it into a nightmare you won't see coming. Through a slow-burning tension, it explores how politeness, trust, and the fear of confrontation can lead to horrific consequences. So, grab some popcorn, get comfortable, and let's dive into the twisted world of Speak No Evil. The film begins its run in Italy. The Daltons, an American family consisting of Ben, Louise, and their daughter Agnes, are currently enjoying a vacation at a resort. Despite being 11 years old, Agnes still requires emotional support from a stuffed rabbit doll named Hoppy. Ben and Louise are having difficulty truly enjoying their time there because the only people they speak with are a Danish couple who they find uninteresting. Agnes becomes panicked when she can't find Hoppy. The British couple known as the Felts, Patty and Kiera, along with their mute son Ant, decide to retrieve it. After convincing the Daltons, the Felts invite them to lunch. Ben tells Patty that the family has relocated to London due to his job, and Louise has been unable to find work as a result of the move. The family is invited to Patty and Kiara's country estate, which they recently purchased. After a while, the Daltons return to London, where Ben expresses to Louise his disappointment that he was unable to secure the job he had hoped for. At the same time, he expresses concern about Agnes's development and her need to move forward without a doll. The Daltons are once again invited to join Patty and Kiera via a postcard that they discover. They give it some thought, and while Louise believes that spending time with strangers is a risky proposition, Ben and she eventually agree. At the last moment, the Daltons arrive at the Felts estate in time for dinner. Despite the fact that Louise had previously informed Patty and Kiera that she is a vegetarian, Patty chooses to show off his cooked goose and offers some to Louise. In an attempt to be polite, Louise takes a bite, but spits it out when Patty and Kiera are not looking. In response to Ben's offer to dispose of some garbage, Ant follows him around and attempts to demonstrate to him that his tongue has been severed. While Ant and Agnes are sleeping in the same room, the adults continue to hang out together. Despite the fact that Louise can hear Ant wailing in his sleep, Patty and Kiera assure her that he will eventually get over it, which he does. The following day, both families take a walk in the woods. Agnes attempts to climb a swing set and Patty pulls Ant away from it to make room for her. Given Louise's discomfort in her neck, Patty suggested that everyone go to the nearby lake. Despite Louise's growing unease with Ben, Kiera invites them to join her and Patty for dinner at a nearby restaurant. During this time, Mujid, Ant's babysitter, will be watching Agnes and Ant. While eating dinner together, Patty and Kiera talk about their sexual lives, and Louise mentions that she and Ben don't have as much sexual activity as they once did. This is followed by Patty and Kiera playing a joke on them by pretending to have under the table. While this is going on, Ant leads Agnes to a bedroom and displays a collection of watches in a drawer. Underneath one of them is an inscription in Danish that includes the name of another person. Ant keeps Agnes quiet in the hopes that Mujid will not discover them. Furthermore, Ant shows Agnes that his torso is covered in scars and bruises. As Ben prepares to go to bed, he expresses his displeasure with what Louise has told Patty and Kiera. He also says he hasn't recovered from seeing another man's on her phone. While Patty watches, they talk about the situation and hug each other. Louise wakes up in the middle of the night and goes into the children's room to check on Agnes. However, she does not find either Agnes or Ant. After searching every possible location, she discovers Agnes dozing next to Kiera in bed. She returns to her room with her daughter. As soon as the morning arrives, Louise informs Ben that the fact that Agnes is sleeping in Patty and Kiara's room is the last straw for her, and that these two must leave immediately. The Daltons make an attempt to flee in a stealthy manner before Patty and Kiara awaken, but while on the road, Agnes begins to experience another bout of anxiety because they have abandoned Hoppy. Ben tries to get her to move on, but she has a habit of kicking his seat, almost causing them to collide with a truck. Despite the fact that Patty and Kiara have awoken, Ben gives in and drives back to the house to retrieve the doll. However, they appear to be offended by Ben and Louise's attempt to leave without saying goodbye. In response to Louise's admission that she was dissatisfied with what she saw the previous evening, Kira expresses her regret and claims that she has a maternal instinct because they had another daughter, Mary, whom they had to eventually lose. Eventually, the Daltons develop compassion and express regret about their departure. Patty takes Ben Fox hunting, while Louise and Kiera spend the day with the children. Aunt attempts to write a message to Agnes, but it is written in Danish, so she cannot understand it. Aunt consumes it first, before Kiera can see it. After Ben fails to shoot the fox, Patty takes him to a quiet yet open location where they can let out therapeutic primal screams. The families have gathered for lunch. Louise becomes upset when Kiera begins to make comments about Agnes's eating habits. Kiera apologizes for her actions, but Patty suggests that Louise also apologize for hers. After that, Agnes and Aunt attempt to demonstrate a dance they've been practicing to the tune of Cotton-Eyed Joe, but Patty continues to criticize Aunt's dancing, making Agnes nervous. Aunt takes Patty's keys while he sleeps. Patty is asleep. When Agnes arrives at the barn, he reveals the hidden basement. In this document, Aunt reveals a book containing photographs of other families with which Patty and Kiera have interacted. Every one of them shows a couple with an unhappy child, one couple with their own child, and another couple with their own child, with each successive image depicting a child from the previous family. Aunt informs Agnes that Patty and Kiera have removed his tongue and intend to have her as their next child after murdering her parents in the same way that they did with his. Agnes takes pictures with her phone and then shows Louise the photos. When Patty awakens, Aunt attempts to steal his keys back, but Patty notices that the basement door's latch is exposed. After discovering the truth, Ben and Louise try to find a reason to leave the location calmly. While they are leaving, they inform Patty and Kira that Agnes has had her first period. However, as they are about to leave, they discover that they have a flat tire. Patty makes the adjustment, but Agnes notices Hoppy has vanished once more. Ben uses a ladder to retrieve the doll after Patty informs him that it is down in the gutters. Even though Hoppy has been shredded, Agnes just wants to get out of there. They try to persuade Aunt to open the gate so he can leave with them, but Patty escapes with his keys intact. While Agnes and Louise are driving away, she notices Patty throwing Aunt into the lake. Ben rushes in to save the boy, and Louise tries to drive away with Agnes, but Patty closes the gate. Ben is able to save Aunt, but Patty and Kiera are now holding Louise and Agnes hostage, threatening them with firearms. Patty and Kiera coerce the Daltons into handing over their money, after which Patty uses ketamine to knock Agnes out. Before attempting to wrestle the rifle from Ciara, Louise cuts Patty's face with a concealed box cutter. Before they all flee, Ben manages to cut himself, Agnes, and Aunt free from their confinement. Mike, Patty, and Tiara's accomplice, approaches the family and begins shooting at them, forcing them to flee back to the house and seek cover. While Ben and Louise are attempting to hide the children and barricade themselves in the bedroom, the villains pursue the family and begin their search. Ben attempts to set fire to the barn with one of Patty's spirits bottles in order to get someone's attention, but he fails and instead drops the bottle on one of Patty's cars. After firing his gun at them, Mike attempts to enter the building. When Ben tries to kill Mike with a hammer, Mike almost overpowers him and impales his head on broken glass. However, Louise manages to grab the hammer and force it into Mike's head, preventing Ben from completing his mission. During Patty's attempted attack, Louise sprays drain cleaner in his face, causing severe burns until Kiara arrives to provide medical attention. The family attempts to climb down the ladder and escape from the roof. Despite Ciara's ability to catch up with them, Louise manages to hit her over the head, causing Kiara to fall off the roof and the ladder to fall down. Although Ben injures his leg while climbing down, he is still able to raise the ladder so that Louise, Agnes, and Aunt can descend it. When Patty discovers them, he holds Agnes at gunpoint and threatens to take her away, claiming that now that Kiara has died, no one else can care for him. Agnes inserts the ketamine needle into Patty's abdomen, knocking him to the ground and stopping him from carrying out his plan to murder her parents. Before they leave, Aunt takes a large brick in his hand. Patty expresses admiration for the young man before Aunt slams his head against the wall, yelling in rage. After putting Aunt and Agnes in Mike's car, Ben and Louise take the first step towards leaving the estate permanently. Agnes gives Aunt Hoppy to help him feel better.